The Fly, the 1986 film. We did talk about on this channel The Fly from 1958, Return the Fly from a year later, and then the third movie in the trilogy, Curse of the Fly, which this one is a great movie, highly recommend. This one is a fun movie, kind of B movie, and then this one's dreadfully boring, so let's not talk about that. But yeah, I think this is an interesting movie because I feel like this movie has become like Ocean's 11 and Scarface, where this movie overshadows all the originals. Scarface, if you know Scarface now, you know the Al Pacino film. You do not know the original film. Most people do not realize that's a remake. And it's funny because Scarface will be announced to get like a remake and people will be like, oh, really? But like, it's been done, guys. We've remade Scarface. Not just the Al Pacino film, but like the original Scarface. Ocean's 11, if you know that movie, you know the Brad Pitt film. And if you know The Fly, you know the Jeff Goldblum film. Which is interesting because I do not think this movie is as good as the Vincent Price film. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong. These are very different movies, so it's hard to really compare them. The original film is much more like 50s sci-fi B-movie silliness that had kind of an edge to it, was a little bit smarter, more sophisticated, but at the core of that film, that's what it was. This movie is very different. This one is directed by David Cronenberg, and if you know David Cronenberg, right, it's his style of horror, body horror, things like that. No, I think it's kind of interesting because in the 80s this would have been very shocking, but watching it now, especially some of the movies his son, I think it's his son who did like Infinity Pool and things like that, not as gory as those, or even other movies that David Cronenberg would do later on. Even other movies I think he did earlier this, with Shivers earlier in this, not as shocking, but it works. I think the creature and makeup design is very disgusting. Everyone I've ever heard talk about this movie, that's how they describe this movie, is disgusting because of that body horror. Jeff Goldblum is one of my favorite actors. I'm gonna love any movie he's in. I'm joking, there's a few I don't, but he's really good in the movie. Though he's kind of he does that eccentric role really well, but he's played a lot more eccentric in a very different way than Vincent Price character, and it works. He also got Gina Davis in this film. Of course, him and Gina Davis were married at one point in real life, so they have great chemistry in this movie. It's a fun movie. It works for what it's going for, but like I said, this is a more horror thing. I think just that original film is so much more smart than this new one, and then this film is more it kind of different within itself. So I think it works for what the film is going for. This one I think just has the edge because it's just more of a smarter, more intricate movie, where this one is a little bit more slowly paced. It's not as smart or well thought out or unique, but it is a movie that is very watchable. This one I could see I probably will watch this one more than this one, but I think this is the better version of this movie. So yeah, I wasn't really sure which one I'd like better. I kind of assumed I liked the Jeff Goldblum one better, but I really did not feel that way, and I was very shocked about that. I'm curious to talk about The Fly 2. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, but we'll talk about that next week.